And now, wait lang. Isin natin to Ayan na, ayan na. Kamusta naman kayo dyan, mga kamets? Mga kamets natin sa YouTube, mga kamets natin dyan sa Facebook. Kamusta naman kayo dyan? I hope pinapublish ba tayo or hindi? Baka mamaya makat na naman tayo. Ito. Sorry na lang dun sa mga ka-tweets. Hindi pa natin ma-set up yung monetization dyan. Baka mabash na naman tayo ng mga haters natin. Alam niyo naman, mga haters natin, 3 grupo lang yan. Mga ingiteros, mga bayaranenos, tsaka mga pangit. Yan, okay. Baka, so yung, at least in Twitter natin, wag muna natin i-monetize. Baka sabihin naman nila, cloud chaser. Yung mga ano lang, mga ilang-ilang lang followers, sila pa nagsasabi ng cloud chaser tayo. Okay, mga kameta, maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga nanood sa mga R&R shows namin ni Secretary Ronald Llamas. Sumabog na yung mga ano namin, yung mga kakulitan namin, especially over YouTube. So please subscribe dun sa YouTube channel natin, mga kamets. Mga kamets, dun naman sa YouTube natin, support naman tayo dyan. Iba naman yung algorithm dyan. Iba yung labanan sa YouTube. Dito sa Facebook at Twitter, medyo kampante ako patas ang laban. Pero sa YouTube, marami tayong mga patagilid na na kailangan natin i-counter. So please support us over YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Yung mga ganyan. Okay, ito. Okay, guys. Interesting tong mga pangyayari ngayon. Marami tayong pag-usapan. Don't worry, may recap na naman kami ni R&R. May nag-isip kami ng mga weekend recaps, no? So, balikan natin itong mga to towards the end of the week. Pero ngayon, pag-usapan natin to because we kind of got the preview of what a Rafi Tulfo versus SARA Duterte presidential laban could look like in 2028. I mean, based on yung mga meron na tayong mga survey so far, this looks like the most likely two contenders, two top contenders. Although, of course, I always said Riza Ontiveros or a progressive candidate could always be in the mix, and in fact, if both SARA and Tulfo run, that definitely splits yung Uniteam 60% base daw, no? Nakitang-kita natin na wala na pag tinignan mo yung mga survey ng potential presidential bosses as early as right now. So, let's look at the number of things kasi marami din nangyayari sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at China, especially dyan sa West Philippine Sea, mga kameta. Ang dami po nangyayari, ang dami mga matapang na Pilipino na pinagtatawanan nila yung mga kabulian, may nilagay-ligay pa na dyan, mga mga yung perimeter na ganun, tinanggal lang natin yan. Ganun dapat ang ang pasok natin. So, before we go to our analysis proper, let me say thank you. Okay, medyo seryoso natin. Let me say thank you to our friends at La Trobe University, especially good friends si Beck and Hunter, among others, for overseeing a new publication meron from La Trobe University in Australia. In cooperation with a lot of different institutions there. Meron kaming new study, ipopost ko mamaya, whereby ako and scholars from Malaysia, from Vietnam, from Australia, from United States, pinag-aralan namin yung different responses of countries in Southeast Asia doon sa pagbubuli sa West Philippines, sa South China Sea. So ipopost natin yan. Thank you also kahapon kasi umaga-umaga. Ito yung siyempre yung time difference sa DC, sa Sydney. So maaga-maga dapat gising tayo kahapon. And then after that, of course, thank you rin kay Professor Ren De Castro at De La Salle University for the invitation. It's very happy to be back in De La Salle, where I started. Hindi naman, I started actually in Ateneo, then De La Salle. So, it's always good to be back, especially doon sa social nilang Henry C. Library, Glass, Social, Manila Bay, Overview. Yan, gandang-ganda tayo dyan. So, thank you very much also to De La Salle University for the kind invitation. Alam niyo naman, mahirap umikot sa Manila, mahirap yung umaga, then hapon, ganun, so pagod na pagod tayo hapon. But of course, the good thing is, marami tayong mga episodes with R&R, Ronald and Richard, Robin Hood Padilla, lahat pinag-usapan natin yan. So, pinost natin yan. So, thank you so much for watching those things. Now, let's go to our discussion for today, mga kamets. Okay. Whew. Eto na, warm up na tayo, Joe. Paano tayo ng aircon dyan? Baka... Okay. Ito. Speaking of potential preview, so nakita natin na, ito talaga nakita natin na, wait lang, hindi ko yata nilagay yung kailangan ko ilagay Okay, marami po nangyari. So of course, yung isa yung hearing, etong hearing dyan sa Senate, which was quite interesting. So I was just watching itong interaction sa pagitan ng ating mga minamahal na senador at vice president. Yan. Okay. Paano to? Ito ba yan? Nakalimutan ko na tuloy paano gumawa na to. Wait lang Matagal tayo hindi gumaga. Ito. Lalabas na ba ito? Ito na naman yung... Wala na. Ito. Saan yung volume? Volume natin.
Okay, Senator.
Dapat sa ating batas, bigyan po ng magandang edukasyon, bigyan po ng magandang servisyo ang mga mahirap nating kababayan. Dito lang po sana sila makakabawi. And I agree, dapat pabawiin natin sila sa pamamagitan ng pagbigay ng quality education. Pero how can we give these students quality of education kung kulang-kulang? And then, we're teaching these kids to be corrupt when they grow up. How and why? Because they know, and they knew, na yung pag-iingi sa kanilang contribution ay pangingikil.
Sir,
So pag lumaki po itong mga estudyante, makikita nila na okay lang pala yung mangingikil kasi si teacher nangingikil sa amin. So paglaki nila, there's the possibility na baka mangingikil sila.
okay, Senator TULFO, your time is up, no? You've been...
Ito talaga si Senator Cayetano, very,
you responded, but kindly
very
respond
moderating,
again. Yusek Escobedo.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, number one, you asked the question on how you can help. Paano kayo makatulong na senator na kayo ngayon? Pwede po kayong gumawa ng batas na ipagbawal po ang voluntary contribution sa mga PTAs. And then, pwede po nating i-implement yan. May penalties po yung teacher or parent na mag-insist na merong voluntary contribution. Ang mga PTA po, just like all the other associations, are guided by the majority. Kung ano po yung desisyonan ng majority doon sa kanilang association, yun po yung nasusunod. Now, it is a voluntary contribution. Ibig sabihin, hindi po pinipilit yung mga estudyante o yung mga magulang na mag-contribute kung yun man ang nadesisyonan na project ng PTA. Marami po tayong mga stakeholders na iba-iba po yung projects nila sa ating mga paaralan. Hindi lang po mga PTA, but we have NGOs, we have private sector donors who partner with our public schools sa mga specific na projects nila in certain schools. Ganito po din yung ating mga PTA. Pinag-iisipan po ng teachers and ng parents kung paano sila makatulong sa eskwelahan para sa pag-aaral ng mga bata. But then again, as I said, these are voluntary contributions. Pwede po nating ipagbawal, gagawa po tayo ng batas para po merong penalty.
Madam Chair, pwedeng konti na lamang. Wala pong kapangyarihan na para ipatigil yan. Pero however, meron pong kapangyarihan ng DepEd na para ipatigil po yung tinatawag na voluntary contributions sa PTA. Now, doon sa questions ko, hindi pa ito nasasagot. Pwede ba pakisabi sa akin paano po na-disperse yung pong MOE?
Yun.
Especially doon sa mga chokes, sa
Yun.
funds. Electric funds palagi every year yan. Talamak na talamak. Janitorial, security, repair, CR, varnish. Paano po na-distribute from DepEd hanggang sa pagdating sa eskwelahan? Paano nakakarating po yung mga MOE, sir?
Meron po tayong listahan kung saan po pwedeng gamitin.
Wait lang, hindi niyo ba nakita mga
At yung
Mets? Akala ko, lumalabas pa dyan? Baka ako lang palang nanonood, hindi kayo nanonood. Nako. So, sumabla yata tayo. Wait lang, nakita niyo ba? All this time na pinapakita natin. Nakita niyo ba? Kasi hindi ko nakita dito sa screen ko. Anyways, of course, nakita niyo may in fairness, interesting naman. So, si Raffy Tulfo, Senator Tulfo was, yung finocus niya yung issue ng voluntary contribution dyan dun sa mga eskwela, no? At sinasabi niya na may mga cases na parang pinapaya pa tong mga estudyante kung hindi nagbigay ng contribution, and that creates a very problematic culture whereby yung mga gusto magpalakas, mag-ano sila, mag-donate sila, tapos andun sila sa Viber group, palaking sila, tapos kawawa yung mga hindi nagbigay, yung mga ganyan-ganyan. So nakita mo naman yung response ni Vice President Sara Duterte was to say, well, kung senator ka, pwede ka rin gumawa ng something about this, magpasa ka ng batas, etc. And then nag-back and forth si Tulfo. But of course, you could see na they kept the discussion very polite, tsaka yung temperature was very much controlled. And then the chairwoman Cayetano was very strict dito sa time. So I don't know, you connect the dots what was going on there. So, for me, that may give you some idea about how a possible debate or interaction between these two individuals could go in the coming years as the competition heats up, no? Because these are considered as the two of the top contenders to succeed yung kasalukuyan na presidente natin na si President BBM, diba? Alright, now, apparently, the interesting thing kung makita natin dito sa mga hearings is yung attention to details ni Raffy Tulfo, no? Yung focus niya nawala ba? Yung attention sa details. No? Ulitin ko hindi ata nakita ng mga kaibigan natin yan, sorry Kasi na full page ko siya. Wait lang, nasaan na siya? Akala ko magre-reflect din pala sa inyo, hindi pala. Ulitin natin just yung first part na lang para hindi yan pa, no? Ako kasi, tinitingnan ko na mabuti yung mga ganitong bagay, mga kamets. Okay? I pay careful attention sa mga ganitong bagay because, sa politika, you have to look at the communication style, posturing, timing, maraming bagay po doon, no? Na dapat tignan natin. Wait lang, just ulitin natin to. Bakit di lumalabas, no? 1 second, Ayan. Try natin labas ulit. Okay, ito. Narinig nyo ba? 1 second, ulitin natin ulit. Ito.
Ay pangingikil. Serbisyo, mamaya, serbisyo. Bigyan po ng magandang serbisyo ang mamaya nating kababayan. Dito lang po sana sila makakabawi. And I agree, dapat pabawiin natin sila sa pamamagitan ng pagbigay ng quality education. Pero how can we give these students quality of education kung kulang-kulang? And then, we're teaching these kids to be corrupt when they grow up. How and why? Because they know, and they knew, na yung pag-iingi sa kanilang contribution ay pangingikil.
Sir,
So pag lumaki po itong mga estudyante, makikita nila na okay lang pala yung mangingikil kasi si teacher nangingikil sa amin. So paglaki nila, there's the possibility na baka mangingikil sila.
Okay, Senator Tulfo, your time is up, no?
Very strict, no? Time's up. Ganun agad.
You've responded, but kindly respond again.
Yusek Escobedo. Madam Chair, Your Honor, number one, you asked the question on how you can help. Paano kayo makatulong na senator na kayo ngayon? Pwede po kayong gumawa ng batas na ipagbawal po ang voluntary contribution sa mga PTAs. And then,
So na-push back yung burden. Kung may concern ka, kayo sa Senadong pumasa ng batas.
Po yung teacher or parent na...
Pero in fairness dito, nakikita niya si SARA, medyo kampante lang, very reasonable, very relaxed na in-explain niya isang issue. Interesting.
Are guided by
This is the other side of Sara Duterte. Kasi siyempre usually alam natin yung palaban style, digong style. This is the other side she has. She's very calm, relaxed, explain niya isang bagay.
Now, it is a voluntary contribution. Ibig sabihin, hindi po pinipilit yung mga estudyante o yung mga
Okay, ito pa isang counter niya. Voluntary na mga contribution nito. So, siguro ang dapat sinabi na lang, investigate namin kung may mga abuses nangyari or something like that.
Marami po tayong mga stakeholders na iba-iba
Yes,
po
implementation.
yung projects nila sa
Pero
ating mga
ina-analyze kasi
paaralan.
natin
Hindi
yung
lang po mga
yung line of
PTA, but
inquiry
we
at saka
have NGOs,
line of
we have,
rebuttals at saka
private sector donors
yung tempo,
who
no, yung
partner
cadence,
with our
paano sila
public
nag-interact.
schools. sa mga specific na projects nila.
Now, of course, the time is also
certain,
important
schools.
because ngayon,
Ganito po
maraming
din yung
medyo
ating,
mainit yung issue ng confidential
mga
funds.
PTA
So,
na pinag-iisipan
iba yung pasok
po
ni
ng
TULFO ngayon dun
teachers
sa
and ng
nitty-gritties,
parents
no?
kung paano
Dun
sila
sa
makatulong
operations ng DepEd sa loob mismo.
Para sa pag-aaral ng mga bata. But then again, as I said, these are voluntary contributions. Pwede po nating ipagbawal, gagawa po tayo ng batas para po merong penalty.
Madam Chair,
Dito magpahabol si...
Wala pong kapangyarihan na para ipatigil yan. Pero however, meron pong kapangyarihan ng DepEd na para ipatigil.
Yun, so pinushback naman ngayon ni TULFO. No, ang may kapangyarihan to do something about is DepEd. Kasi sa loob ng DepEd nangyari yan.
Paano po na-disperse yung pong MOE? Especially dun sa mga chokes, sa mga electric
Tapos ngayon, tignan mo, TULFO is showing na he knows yung nitty-gritties, how are things gonna work, etc.
Repair, CR, varnish. Paano po na-distribute from DepEd hanggang sa pagdating sa eskwelahan? Paano nakakarating po yung mga MOE, sir?
Meron po tayong listahan kung saan po pwedeng gamitin yung school
Okay, so that's just a preview. I suggest you guys go on YouTube. You can check it on your own. The full, around 15 minutes siyang discussion and conversation. Again, for me, mahalaga yan because you can see each of them are trying to show a different kind of leadership, no? First of all, kay TULFO, pinapakita talaga niya na alam niya yung katotohanan on the ground, that he's in touch with realities on the ground. Of course, alam niyo naman si Rafi TULFO, si Idol TULFO, that's what he does, di ba? He goes around, he goes about, tinitignan niya yung mga complaints, ano yung mga pagkakulang, yung mga kapalpakan. So, dito pinapakita niya yung mastery niya ng mga details or supposed mastery niya of details on the ground, yung mga abuso nangyari, yung mga kawawang estudyante na hindi makapagbigay ng voluntary contributions, na ostracize, na call out, habang yung mga estudyante na may kakayahan or nagbibigay, nagpapalakas, ganun. So, sabi niya, that breeds a culture of corruption. Immediately nakita na yung style ni SARA is to push it back and say, kayo sa Senado, you want to do something about it, pass a law. But, this is voluntary contribution, wala naman pinipilit. So, clearly, hindi masyado ni-respond yung issue ni Rafi, which is, ang issue dito is implementation at saka oversight. Ano nangyari sa loob ng DepEd, which was immediately rebuttal there, no? At nakikita niyo yung chairwoman there, I think she was very, conscious to make sure that this doesn't become a heavily politicized back and forth. Now, the timing is also important because, of course, ang pinag-usapan po natin dito is, nasa panon po tayo ng confidential funds, something that I'm gonna talk about shortly later. But before that, there's another aspect also to back and forth between SARA and Rafi TULFO that I kind of overlooked, but it's important. So si Rafi TULFO, mukhang may take din siya dun sa recent, may greetings pala ulit si VP Sara Duterte in Mandarin. Alright, so check natin yan. Para makita niyo naman yung sinasabi po natin dito. Asan? Ito na. Interesting na to. Wait lang. Ito. Okay. Lagyan natin to. Ito. Again, I'm just showing lang short clip version lang. There's a longer version na you can check it online yourself. Ito yung short clip version. Okay. Asan na? Ayan, Okay, don't worry guys. Actually, kung panoorin niyo yung buo nito, itong buong Chinese, may sheshe na mamaya. So yun yung, at least kung di nyo alam yung Chinese, may gets yun na by that time. Okay, so apparently si Senator TULFO also raised some concern on this issue. Pag-usapan din natin yan, which is yung itong calls for strategic partnership, institutional partnership with China sa aspeto ng edukasyon, no? Now, obviously, all of this is very sensitive because we'll also discuss later on etong issue. Medyo malaking problema natin sa China ngayon, and let's not forget, hindi po democratic country ang China, napaka-authoritarian, some would even say totalitarian yung system of education nila, etc. Is this a country we want to cooperate with on the educational level? Parang yun yung tanong, yun ang sinasabi ng critics. Ito so si TULFO, si Senator TULFO, ito tinatanong yung Office of the President, no, ukol sa issue na ito. So sabi ng the Office of the President has distanced itself dito sa Vice President Sara Duterte's message to China in Mandarin, no, on its 74th founding anniversary, in which she expressed hope that its partnership with the Philippines will prosper. Sorry, it's a general partnership pala, not institutional. But if I'm not mistaken, I saw some news about, also discussions about institutional educational partnership, but I'll double check that. So, 1 second. I-post na lang natin mamaya dyan sa baba, no? But just to be correct, at least on this news, we're talking about general expression of partnership, no? So at the continuation of plenary debates Tuesday dun sa House Bill 8980 or the proposed general appropriation. So, syempre, yung appropriations pinag-usapan dahil sa confidential fund. Si Senator TULFO, yung sponsor ng Office of the President's Budget, said yung statement ni Vice Presidente does not reflect the government's stance on China. No, and in a video greeting, ito yung pinakita ko sa inyo, sinabi ni Sara Duterte na she hopes for expanded areas of cooperation between Philippines and China, especially in the field of education and youth development. So tama ako, okay. So we hope that our partnership will prosper in the areas of agriculture, trade, investment, science, and technology. Ito yung sinabi ni Sara Duterte, VP Sara Duterte. TULFO naman did not give a direct response when yung sinabi ng Kabataan Party List Representative Raul Manuel, if Duterte's statement can be considered an act of treachery, particularly in light of China's aggression in the South China Sea. So, sinabi naman nila is ang ganitong mga sinasabi ng Vice Presidente, this is not consistent with the remarks of the Defense Secretary, Gibochadora. Ang sinabi ng Defense Secretary sa committee budget briefing ay nagpaportray ng cold attitude toward China given its encroachment sa West Philippine Sea. So, sinabi ni Manuel, how can the President reconcile this incompatible stance of his Vice President and his Defense Secretary? May tuturi ba nating pagtatraidor sa bansa ang ganito mga mensahe ni alam niyo na. So si again dito niyo makikita na si Rafi Tulfo, again medyo suabe niyang ginawa niya. So it didn't go as far as yung sinasabi ng some of the opposition figures na baka ito ay talagang super contradictory doon sa sinasabi ng ating presidente or ating pangulo. Hindi niya sinabi yan, pero at least he kind of raised the question there. It's really the full opposition, real opposition members, especially dyan sa Kongreso and mga others who raised serious issues na parang hindi tumutugma, no, yung statements ng gobyerno dito sa relasyon natin sa China, hindi ito tumutugma dun sa realidad on the ground. Now obviously alam naman natin when it comes to Duterte's, they generally have a good relationship with China, no, almost mukhang irrespective of what's happening on the ground. But let's also not forget that President BBM earlier this year, sinabi din niya na hindi naman siya tumututol dun sa efforts ng mga Dutertes, or even former President Duterte to build bridges with China. Kasi ayaw naman natin na completely bumaksak yung bilateral relationship natin. So, siguro ang tinatanong ni Tulfo dito is ano ba nangyari dito? Good cop, bad cop pa? Kung saan, yung VP mo ay purong good vibes ang sinasabi sa bilateral relationship, and then yung Office of the President, Defense Secretary, yung administration naman, medyo criticize dun sa West Philippine Sea issue. Not to mention, of course, on a more substantial level, is this even a sensible thing to do? Especially, presenting it in Mandarin. Although, I will leave it to our Mandarin experts to tell us kung nag-improve itong presentation compared to sa last presentation last year na spoof online. Alam naman natin, di ba, kung ano-anong ginawa nila online dun sa ganitong presentation na yun. So, as you can see, Senator Tulfo has been coming from different angles. So usually yung line of attack kasi yung sa confidential funds Pero si Senator Tulfo comes from the angle of anong nangyari sa loob ng DepEd, anong kalagayan ng mga estudyante, ano bang ginagawa natin dyan. And then now, of course, ang isa pang angulo niya is dito, sa angulo naman ng kamusta naman yung mga statements ng ating VP and Department of Education Secretary pagdating sa relasyon sa China, literally being, all of these greetings and all being said in Mandarin. What does that say? Does it send conflicting messages, or does it complement actually kind of a bifurcated, both shake hands and, tough kind of positioning, etc. Now, while yung mga Dutertes are still insisting on keeping strong partnership with China, and nakita natin on the ground is some major developments are happening. Interestingly, mga kameta, most recently nakita natin na hindi lang yung Philippine Coast Guard ay lumalaban dun sa pagbubuli na nangyari sa atin sa West Philippine Sea, pero pati yung mga ating mangingista ay medyo mas matapang na rin. Kaya nga, this is where it's important eh. The lead comes from the government, from the president. Kung matapang yung gobyerno mo, kung matapang yung presidente mo, right? Then mas encourage yung mga tao, no? Mas encourage yung mga tao para lumaban din, di ba? On the ground, on the ground. So this is an interesting situation now whereby lumalaban yung mga fishermen natin on the ground dun sa pagbubuli, habang yung VP natin and former President Duterte naman are emphasizing partnership and all. Again, as I said, this could be part of a bifurcated strategy whereby we don't want to burn bridges with them, kaya maganda may mga Duterte style to talk about all the good things, and at the same time, we have to also make our red lines clear. Now, I don't know if this is a kind of a kesera-sera situation, or Frank Sinatra, anyone goes their own way, or this is a systematic approach by President BBM. But at least Senator Tulfo openly asked questions like, what's going on here? Ano ba nangyari dito? Hindi ba dapat in sync yung Office of the Vice President doon sa broader messaging ng ating gobyerno, not to mention in sync with the realities on the ground? Pero ito yung nga yung interesting, habang si Tatay Digong noon ay may pa jet ski, matapang, macho, tapos wala namang ginawa nung binubuli tayo kung ano nung sinasabi na malapit dun sa sinasabi ng kabila, hindi sa sinasabi natin. Ito nangyari on the ground. Interestingly, yung ating mga mangingista mismo ay lumalaban. So si Sir Satam 54, sabi niya, gusto kong mangingista dito. I want to fish in there, no? At I do this thing often. They already chased me earlier today. Pinagtawanan ko lang sila. I just laugh at them. So, ito yung report na tinignan nyo. So, this is quite interesting, no? Na makikita natin, while President BBM himself is not super aggressive when it comes to China, his his lieutenants, essentially, Defense Secretary is talking tough. The Philippine Coast Guard is aggressively, legitimately pushing back against pagbubuli sa atin. And now, it's going all the way down, pati dun sa mga mangingista natin, no? Na sinasabi na pinagtawanan lang namin yung pagbubuli sa amin. So, I don't know. I mean, things are interesting. Things are warming up dito sa ating kinokontrol ko na lang sarili ko kasi hintayin ko na lang si Ronald Llamas na magsabi ng mga ako mabait lang ako mga kameta. Hintayin ko na lang si Boss Ronald na Now, let's end on even a better note. So, interestingly, mukhang gumagana ang itong mga aktivismo ng mga ating sambayanan, no? Online, it looks like nagre-respond ng mga politiko, no? Narinig na nila yung galit ng tao, no? And this is where I'm connecting the two things that I discussed. First, Duterte, China, all of that. Second, West Philippine Sea, all of that. Na, tingnan, in a way, hindi. I mean, yes, Duterte, China and all, and then confidential funds and all of that. Yan, dinikit natin yan. So, naalala nyo isang araw, sinabi natin, sinabi ko nung isang araw, klarong-klaro tayo, why not, pause muna tayo dito sa mga confidential funds, unless, ito ay papunta sa mga security agencies lang. Because, pagdating sa issue na yan, siguro this is where I kind of also differ with some of our more progressive friends, is that, I mean, I understand some of our progressive friends want to get rid of all sorts of confidential funds, no? Because ang concern nila dito is, by nature, confidential funds are susceptible to mumbo-jumbo, no? So, ito yung position ng some of the more progressive figures out there. I think former Congressman Nelly Colmenares is among them. Ako naman, for me, if an element of confidential fund is almost inevitable because a lot in national security, by nature, hindi siya pwede maging 100% transparent, right? But, what I'm saying here is that there still should be safeguards. And, more importantly, if there's gonna be any confidential fund, it has to strictly go dun sa mga ahensya, dun sa mga departamento na may talagang kinalaman sa ating national security. Right? And, speaking of national security, alam natin pagdating sa Pilipinas ngayon, and this is what's interesting na pinag-usapan namin ni Ronald Llamas yung isang araw, di ba? Yung sinasabi nung Duterte administration not long ago na ubus na daw yung mga NPA, mga ganyan. So kung ubus na sila, baka ang laki ng confidential fund na kailangan ng including non-security departments like DepEd. It doesn't make sense. I mean, if paubos na yan, kung wala na talaga sila, then bakit kailangan natin na ang laki-laki ng confidential fund to supposedly deal with the supposed infiltration dun sa primary schools? Are you kidding me? So clearly alam natin that the real security situation is that the threat we're facing, primary threats we're facing right now are increasingly external, or at least we're in a better position to deal with external security threats precisely because yung domestic security threats, whether ito ay from moral separatism, whether ito sa mga extremist religious groups, whether ito sa mga communist NPA, is nowhere close to where it was before. Kaya ngayon, pwede na tayo mag-concentrate dun sa external security issues. Now, interestingly, mukhang nung nagwala ang mga tao, right and left, dito sa laki ng confidential funds, 11 days pa lang daw, ginastos ng 125 million. I mean, what's going on? And lingering questions about whether non-security agencies should have access to such big confidential funds, mukhang nag-respond na yung mga ibang politiko natin. So now there's a proposal na dun sa pinakabagong budget, no, General Appropriations Act, ibigay na dun sa mga ahensya na talaga may kinalaman at may pangangailangan dito sa mga funds na ganitong funds. So, the House and Senate have agreed to relocate confidential intelligence funds dun sa mga ahensya na lumalaban para sa ating mga mangingisda at ating mga sovereign rights at karapatan dyan sa West Philippine Sea. Hindi pa rin klaro kung anong mga ahensya, which agency the funds would come from, pero yung mga progresibong grupo ay have been calling on lawmakers to realign secret funds that were inserted in the proposed budget of the Office of the President Marcos Jr., Vice President SARA Duterte. So party leaders sa House were the first to make the commitment in a joint statement sa Wednesday. So ito yung kahapon lang, September 27. So the party leaders from Lakas CMD, National Unity Party, PDP Laban, PDP Laban, ano yun, tatay yan ah, or yung kabilang faction, National People's Coalition, Nationalista Party, and Party List Coalition Foundation said yung beneficiaries dapat ng mga ganitong fund ay Philippine Coast Guard, PCG, National Intelligence Coordinating Agency, NICA, National Security Council, NSC, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, BFAR. So actually, BFAR is not even a security agency, but it's extremely important dun sa preservation ng ating resources and monitoring of preservation of ating mga resources, especially mga isda, yung mga isda diyan sa West Philippine Sea, no? So dito sa statement ng mga iba't ibang partido, sabi nila, recognizing the rising security threats sa West Philippine Sea and the need to secure top officials, these agencies are better positioned to counteract. Important these agencies, meaning NICA, Philippine Coast Guard, National Security Council, at BFAR, these agencies are better positioned to counteract security threats, protect our territorial waters, and secure the rights and access of Filipino fishermen to traditional fishing grounds. No? So in short, may dalawang aspeto so may implicit criticism dyan. One criticism is, leave the fund to the agencies who are supposed to have such funds, meaning agencies with security or national security orientation. And B, actually, the threat to us, the primary threat to us, and where we should concentrate, yung ating national energy and resources, is sa West Philippine Sea. Hindi doon sa mga supposed infiltration daw ng mga NPA, mga ganyan, mga exaggerated ekek na yan. Okay? So that's very interesting. That's very important. So it's a twofold implicit criticism. Now, the PCG has been, of course, very, very active, and yung latest na super active nila, ito yung pagtanggal nun sa 300-meter floating barrier sa southern portion ng Scarborough Shoal, Panatag Shoal, or Bajo de Masinloc, no? So, etong Coast Guard, very active sila, very on the forefront sila. And speaking of Robin Hood Padilla, Senator, speaking of civilianization of our West Philippine Sea, o yan, PCG is a civilian agency. Let's support the civilian agency who's doing a perfect job of dealing with threats to our country para hindi uminit yung situation, para walang excuse yung kabila na bulihin tayo ng gusto, no? In fact, another person that we have to give credit to is Senate Deputy Minority Leader Riza Hontiveros, so of course could be also one of the presidential contenders in 2028, who also questioned the paltry 10 million lang yung intelligence fund for the PCG. Naku po, yung 10 million na yan, wait lang so 125 million ang ginastos in 11 days nung isang ahensya na walang kinalaman sa national security nung confidential funds. And then yung buong PCG, ang intelligence fund lang nila is 10 million pesos. At gagastusin nila over a whole year? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Right? So, kaya kailangan talagang ayusin yan. So, binuking din ng Representative Raul Manuel, someone that perhaps we should also interview, another interesting legislator, pointed out, ito yung shocking, guys. Yung PCG po ay nag-receive ng combined 118 million in confidential intelligence funds, CIFs, in the past 17 years. So, ito yung sinasabi nung isang araw namin ni parang ni parang Ronald, diba? Ayun ako, yun na naman tayo. Ito, i-screenshot lang natin tong walang yang to. Wait lang, ayusin natin. Ito talagang ibang klase ang sense of prioritization ng ating bayan, no? Ito, post natin dito, Kakaibang to, Only in the Philippines talaga. Sense of priority talaga, no? Ang tagal namin sinasabi na mahalaga ito ng Philippine Coast Guard. Tingnan niyo naman to, mga kametso. Ito, yung PCG, wala pang 120 million yung kanilang confidential intelligence funds in the past 17 years. Habang yung isa, gumastos ng 125 million in 11 days. Last year pala, like, ay nako, good luck na lang sa Pilipinas kung purong gana. So at least, feeling tayo Dahil dun sa marami nagalit online, maraming nag-react dito sa mga confidential fund, sa mga ahensya na questionable kung kailangan talaga nila ng confidential fund or ganong kalaking confidential fund, no? Or whether some like Congressman as a Lagman among others will mention even the technicality behind it. Wait lang, wala naman line item, bakit nilagay? Yung mga so, there are many levels of criticism. So, yung iba siguro medyo narinig nila yung galit ng tao. Next level na ito. So, ngayon, magre-reallocate, at least yun yung push ng ibang coalition of parties na minention natin, to push this for yung mga ahensya na talagang kailangan nila yan. Again, so maybe here I'm a little bit more moderate because I know that there's some folks in the progressive movement who are saying tanggalin lahat ng klaseng confidential intelligence fund. For me, I'm a little bit more nuanced on this because alam natin medyo grabe yung situation natin pagdating sa West Philippine Sea, yung mga sharp power operation, influence operations, maraming mga kalokohan na nangyari. So certain degree of discretion, prerogative, confidentiality is perhaps important, but this should be confined really to the agencies who know their job and whose job is to really deal with national security issues, which is increasingly external in orientation rather than domestic. Because if you were gonna take the Duterte administration words on face value, yung pala talo na pala yung mga komunista NP na yan. So bakit pa natin kailangan ng malaking confidential fund? So ito yung mga question po na sinasabi natin, min-mention natin over the past few days and follow up muna tayo. If-follow up din natin itong greeting in Mandarin, no? Tanong natin yung mga Mandarin expert friends natin dyan kung nag-improve yung level of delivery compared to last year, because I talked to some Mandarin speaking friends of ours and you can ask them how, whether they were really impressed about it's more difficult even than French. And imagine doing French and parang kunyari pag binabasa mo lang yung French as it is, no? Parang Rousseau, like Rosiao. You cannot do it that, or Bordeaux and Bordeaux. You cannot say it like that. You have to know how to do that. Okay, anyway. I'm just saying, hindi naging kasing init ng akala natin yung mga back and forth dyan sa Senate. I think everyone is trying to keep the temperature below a certain threshold. Nakita niya naman yung approach ni Rafi Tulfo was very, very sober, detail-oriented, on-the-ground reality. Response naman ni SARA was also, let's keep it chill, let's respond to it, and let's, what is your responsibility before talking about my responsibility. So it was interesting. It was interesting, but my hunch is we'll see more of that. in the coming months and especially in the coming years, not during only budget hearings, but as habang umiinit ang labanan for the battle for succession, right, in the coming years. But in the meantime, good news, it looks like public pressure is working. Not so good news is, wag tayo magpadala sa mga joint statement lang, push lang tayo ng push. Because ito talagang obligasyon ng lahat ng mamamayan Pilipino. No? Anyone who cares about our democracy, the future of our children, etc. We have to make sure na yung budget, yung pondo ng gobyerno ay ginagastos in the best way possible. And when we're facing such real threats, especially dyan sa West Philippine Sea, sana naman clear yung sense of priorities natin. Who should get which funds and how big those funds should be. In a sense na commensurate dapat sila dun sa threats na meron tayo. So maraming salamat again. Thank you so much sa lahat ng mga nanonood sa atin. Sorry kung may mga technical difficulties among others. At kung hindi pa ako masyadong bardagulan, alam mo naman, mabait ako. Balance lang tayo. So thank you so much lahat ng mga... bakit nag-times up? Thank you kay Jen Ya, kay Admer Fuentes. Ayan, maraming nagmamahal sa atin. Wait lang, 1 second. Kunin ko lang yung itong phone ko. Hindi ko makikita yung Hindi ko nag-hang na yata itong system natin. Saka, sa dami ng mga comments. Okay. Ito na. Wait lang, mga kameds. Thank you tayo dyan. Ayan. Okay, Thank you kay Shena Amil, kay Malu Nubla Penalosa, kay yan yung mga usual suspects, Noemi Tablate, Luz Handayan Mayer, Glenn Gatula, yan, thank you very much, Riz Ani, Mom Eden Olonan, as always, kay Akra Sekreb, kay Miletsky Kasilihan, kay Abon Koleza, kay Luz Lama, yan, Annabelle Gamoras, Macorazon Betio, TJ Tagpuno, yan. Maraming nagmamahal sa atin. Elmo, Freymuth. I think yun yung response niya dun sa Mandarin section. Alright. Thank you so much sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat din dito sa kabila. Sino ba nandito? Wala na natang tao dito. Hindi, joke lang. Kay Maynard, Capellan, Maclean, Bacon Briefs, RJ, Science and Facts. Ayan, mahiligan sa Science and Facts dito. Si RJ, si Mirmidos Gaming, Prince One, pinatulan na lang lahat, no? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon. Sorry, may habol pa tayo ibang mga gagawin. Yan, si Ma'am Jocelyn Lumbere, of course, nandito rin. Thank you so much sa inyong lahat and talk to you soon. Masaya to. Panoorin pa na. Ipopost ko yung link ng mga videos para you watch it on your own. Salamat, God bless, and talk to you soon. Salamat, guys.